अमित जी गो लाइव हो चुका है, ठीक है।
ओके Hello everyone. Today's your host for the webinar is Amit Singh Athwal, Director Corporate Relations, Ratan Bara University. Today's topic for the webinar is online learning, the future of education going forward. With me today, Dr. Manoj Manoja, Pro Vice Chancellor, Ratan Bara University, Mohali. Dr. Manoja holds PhD degree from Thapar University. He comes with 27 years of rich experience. Dr. Manoja worked with companies like Infosys Technologies, GE Motors, and Goodyear Tires. Welcome, Dr. Manoja. Welcome, Dr. Manoja.
Thank you, Mr. Amit. It is nice to be here on this webinar. Feeling pretty excited to be on board.
Oh, great, sir. Sir, just want to start with the first question. And this question comes from my heart.
Amit ji, let us wait for another couple of minutes so that participants can join and then we can start.
Okay.
So I will just.
How is Chandigarh, Dr. Manoja?
Sorry.
How is the condition in Chandigarh?
Chandigarh, it is getting hotter and hotter day by day.
Okay.
But yes, all over the place it is COVID-19, and everybody is scared of.
Okay.
Praying to God to give us a complete solution for COVID-19 so that everybody leads a normal life.
Sure, sir. Sure, sir. We will meet soon also.
Definitely, yes.
I think we can start the session, sir.
So I'll run through the presentation first and then you can go for the questions.
Okay, done, sir. Great, sir.
So let us start. Good morning, my dear loving students, their parents, respected faculty members, and esteemed guest of industry arena. It is my great pleasure and privilege to share my thoughts on future education system with you today. Let me introduce myself first. I am Dr. Manoj Manuja, working as Pro Vice Chancellor with Rayat Bara University Mohali campus. My professional career spans over 27 years, wherein I have tried to contribute towards bridging the gap between industry and academia. How to prepare industry ready graduates is one theme I have worked on extensively during last 20 years. Prior to RBU, my notable career stints was with Infosys for around 13 years, where I was responsible for the competency development of Infosys employees in the field of data science, big data analytics, and cloud technologies. Currently, I have been working on society focused and business aligned deep learning and AI solutions at RBU. In today's seminar, so let me share my PPT. Pankaji, please make this PPT available, please. Available? Pankaji? Great. So let me start. Uh, is online education the future of learning going forward? This is a topic I would like to discuss today because this is a very sensitive topic as far as today's society is concerned, our education system is concerned. And let me share a brief of the current scenario during COVID-19, how learning is taking place. Everybody must have experienced that learning during the last couple of months, whether you are in a school, whether you are in a college, whether you are in industry. Some learning is happening online. If I underline the word some, it is almost complete learning. So how things have changed post COVID-19 when compared to pre-COVID-19 scenario? What are the challenges being faced by different stakeholders? That is one of the agenda points. What is the road ahead, along with possible opportunities for all the stakeholders? And towards the end, I would like to share my foresight and few predictions for the future learning ecosystem post COVID-19. So that will be the broad agenda of today's discussion. I would request everybody who is on the webinar to use the notepad of YouTube to post your questions. And Amit ji and Pankaj ji will definitely pick those questions and put it to me for answering. So I would request you to participate. Feel free to ask anything and everything related to this particular topic, which will help everybody to gain some knowledge after the session. That is the pure intention of next 45 to 60 minutes. So let me talk about learning model during COVID-19. I'm just talking about a scenario for the last, let us say, 60 days, around 60 days. So these two figures, these two pictures, I hope everybody is well aware of. Zoom and Google Classroom, extensively used by each and every person who is into education, whether it is a student, whether it is a teacher, whether it is a college management, whether it is government authorities or industry people. Everybody is used to these two pictures very much. So that comes under the social media. Now, next question arises, how you access these two social media? Definitely through your mobile. General answer, general answer. So when you talk about mobile phone, that is primarily a mobile. When you are talking about mobile, you are learning, you are contributing, you are taking sessions, teachers are delivering those sessions, teachers are taking your assignments, quizzes, projects, sessions, etc. So a lot of analytics need to be done. When you talk about analytics, a lot of tools are in place as far as background analytics is concerned. You talk about Google Analytics as one example. There are many others. So when everything is done, a lot of data is being generated. When you talk about data, volumes are in petabytes. Huge data. And then that data needs to be kept somewhere. That is a place we call cloud. So it may be Google Documents, it may be Skydive, it may be Dropbox, it may be Gmail, lot of things. So that is primarily the framework which we people across the globe are using. SMAC, social, mobile, analytics, and cloud. That is how we are moving. That is how we have explored the learning during the last 30 to 45 days. So this is what it is happening at this moment of time. Now, when we talk about education ecosystem, so there are certain stakeholders. When we talk about stakeholders, so first stakeholder who is holding the center stage is student. Student is taught by a faculty member. Faculty member belongs to a given institution or a university. that institution is linked with some government agencies, some government bodies, Ministry of HRD, UGC, AICT, etc. And per se, the general stakeholder is society. So this is a complete ecosystem of education which we people imbibe and trail all together around us. So in today's session, I will be talking about those stakeholders, particularly three stakeholders: students, faculty, and institutions. So during today's session, today's discussion, I would be talking about these three stakeholders, and in subsequent webinars, we'll talk about government agencies and society in general. So I'm just restricting my discussion to these three stakeholders because most of the people attending this session comes from these three categories. So, okay, education ecosystem. When we talk about pre-COVID, post-COVID, different scenarios altogether. So when we talk about different scenarios, let me give you few examples. This is one typical class pre-COVID. Teacher is there, students are there in the class and all that. But post-COVID, it is a different scenario altogether. In-person teacher has been replaced by a virtual teacher. All of us in this webinar must acknowledge this major change happened. Then when teacher is in the class, so pre-COVID, teacher will come, he will write on the blackboard, but that scenario has changed post-COVID. Blackboard will be replaced by tablet PC. So this is another change happened during last few days. Few days means 30 to 45 days. When teacher is in the class, he or she is writing on the blackboard, students are taking notes. Students are taking notes. When, can everybody put their phone on mute, please? Thank you. So students are taking notes pre-COVID scenario. But post-COVID scenario, class notes will be replaced by web documents. Everything will be web. I would ask one question to the participants. How many pages you have written during last 45 days of online teaching? Because everything is coming as a soft copy to you. So no need to make notes nowadays. So this is another change happened. When theory class is done, definitely next step is pre-COVID, you go to a lab for experiments. This scenario has also changed because physical labs will be replaced by simulated labs online. So everything as far as experiments are concerned will happen using simulated labs. This is another change happened pre versus post COVID. Next, this particular slide I have put on a lighter note because when you are in a class, most of the students are aware of the fact that yes, few naughty students go for proxy. But this will be avoided when you go for online attendance because you need to log in, your photo will be there, so you need to show your face to your teacher online. So proxy marking will be avoided by online. So this is another change happened. So I'm trying to touch upon various aspects of education ecosystem so that on a larger periphery, we understand what is happening around us. When this is the case, there are labs. When there are labs, there are lab supports also, lab assistants, lab technicians, and all that. But post-COVID, it is gone because lab support will be replaced by AI bots. You never know who is talking behind the screen, but that particular voice may be coming from a bot, AI bot. Possible, very much possible. So slowly and slowly, ecosystem is taking a shape. When labs are done, definitely you will go to your library and fetch some books for reading. But post-COVID, that library will come into your laptop because physical library will be replaced by web-based digital library. That is another change happened during last 30 to 45 days. Then when you have learned something, you will be given assignments. Some of the students copy the assignments from their friends. That is going to change because copying cheating will be checked by machine learning based tools. So if two files submitted are same word by word, the tool will just put a red flag on those two files that these two files are same. So now copying will be difficult. Cheating will be difficult. When this is done, definitely you have learned everything, you have submitted your assignments, then you will go to the examination hall to write the exam, where an invigilator is there. But in coming time, this is going to change because in-person invigilator will be replaced by webcam equipped AI based online invigilator. So there will be a webcam, just like you are able to see my picture. Similarly, that particular webcam will capture my picture, capture my face, make it sure that I am the same person whom my system is expecting to write the exam, and then they will observe my eye movements. Like if I do like this, they will observe that yes, I am looking somewhere else also. So in that particular scenario, it is very clumsy for students to write online exams. So these are few changes happened during last few days. Although most of the systems were there in place, but they were not mandatory. Last 30 to 45 days have made those systems mandatory for all because there is no alternative. Everybody is sitting at home, nobody can come out, but everybody wants to learn, everybody wants to evaluate, everybody wants to do the assessments. So in that particular scenario, these few things have taken a shape during last 30 days. Now, challenges for the stakeholders. When we talk about stakeholders, in today's discussion, we are taking only 3 stakeholders. One is students, one is faculty members, one in institutions. So let us talk about what are the challenges these stakeholders are facing. During last 30 to 45 days, challenges being faced by the faculty members. They need to quickly adapt to online teaching philosophy. This is the major challenge many of the faculty members are facing nowadays. When you talk about second challenge, they need to innovate ways and means for effective class engagement to ensure students' satisfaction. This is another point which faculty members are realigning with. They need to innovate some ways and means where they can effectively engage the class, talk with students, look for the comments, look for the messages, look for the various indicators which students give on the dashboard. So those are the challenges being faced by faculty members. Next, they need to integrate continuous assessments. Like I have taken a session for, let us say, 40 minutes. Now I would like my students to go for a quiz. Pre-COVID, what was happening? Most of the teachers were saying that yes, I can organize a quiz, but give me an environment, give me a platform where in the class I can do that, or I need to take a paper pen quiz and then check it out and then submit the marks, etc., etc. Cumbersome process. But now everything is online, so teacher need to just type 5 questions and just put it across to the students on their online screen. So now teachers have to more rigorously include those continuous assessments in their daily teaching schedules also. That is another challenge they are facing. Then another challenge. Faculty members have their notes. I have seen teachers who who are teaching the same subject for the last 5 to 10 years. They have their notes prepared. They will just take the register and go into the class. That is going to change because now what will happen that yes, when a lot of web material is available, now teachers have to curate the content from the web. That okay, read this particular link, watch this particular video on the YouTube, go for this particular tutorial. So that is the curation of content instead of creating their own notes. That is another challenge faculty members are facing. And again, in coming days, it has already started. Most of the assessments will be open book. Okay, fine. You are at home. You do the exam. You will take the help of your books. So now teachers, faculty members need to come up with real life problems to assess the students, because going forward, assessments will be open book. That is one particular area where teachers, faculty members need to realign very quickly, because this is one thing you need to do, that is assessment. And otherwise, if you do not come with the real life problems, real life questions, your complete database will be out and you may not be able to do the proper assessments. So these are few challenges being faced by the faculty members during last 30 to 45 days. Next, let me touch upon challenges for the students. They need to be more focused, because in the class what was happening, that yes, teacher was teaching physically and students were taking notes, and some students take notes from the other students and make a xerox of it. But now onus is on a particular student. They need to be more focused to understand or learn new concepts. They need to be very proactive in asking doubts, because if they don't ask doubts, they may not be able to revisit that particular place, because they may not be able to meet the teacher in person and everything is going online. So I'm taking a hypothetical scenario where online education is the complete DNA into our daily routine. This particular point we discussed a few minutes back. They need to create their own assignment solutions, because there will be tools available which are equipped with machine learning, artificial intelligence to detect the copying or cheating. So that is one aspect students need to work on. They need to be more active as individual learners, because physical group studies, which generally students do, may not be possible going forward. In post-COVID scenario I'm talking about. In that particular way, if you are an individual self-learner, definitely you will be able to survive. Otherwise things will be difficult for you. So these are few challenges students are facing. I discussed with a lot of students during last 15 to 20 days, and everybody talked about these points. And what are the challenges for the institution? When you talk about institution, they need to provide a good digital infrastructure. When we talk about digital infrastructure, they need to provide good LMS so that learning is proper. They need to provide a good ERP so that academic governance is possible. Smooth academic governance is possible. They need to provide digital online library, and they need to convert their examination cell into an online examination cell. So that is another challenge. And they need to invest on teachers training as far as their social media handling skills are concerned. So these are the challenges being faced by the institutions. So we have talked about three types of challenges: one for faculty, one for students, one for institutions during last 30 to 45 days of COVID lockdown period. That is how slowly we are moving towards one particular scenario where we need to address these challenges also. So how to do about that? So another point, challenges for the industry going forward. I think previously what was happening, industry people, whenever academic institutions were contacting them, they will say that, okay, our person will visit you on this and this date. He will travel if the university is in Punjab, let us say Chandigarh. Person will travel from Bangalore. So 1 month prior to his visit, everything is blocked and all that. It is a gone case now. It will not happen now because we don't need that person to travel physically to Chandigarh. We would like that particular person to sit in his office, just open one online interface platform and talk for 1 hour or 2 hours, whatsoever duration he or she may be wanting to deliver. So that is how contribution from industry into academia will increase multifold because that travel aspect is gone. Now, whenever that person, industry person is free, he can just deliver, he can just address my students for 1 hour. They just need to deliver online sessions going forward. Overall, it is a great opportunity for the industry and the academia to come closer and have a very strong collaborative relationship. That is where I see an opportunity over here. So what is the way forward? What is the road forward going to the future? When you talk about future, faculty has to be more tech savvy. This is the first mantra going forward. When you talk about students, you need to be individual learners. You need to learn how to learn individually. That is second aspect. For institutions, they need to be driven more by digital technologies. So technology, currently they were considering technology as just enabler, that it will help their daily routine work. But nowadays, post COVID, this scenario is going to change because if institutions embark digital technologies quickly, they will be able to survive, otherwise not. And industry would be contributing more in the classroom as compared to previous scenario. That is how things are going to move in the future going forward. Examination cell will change. It will change dramatically because we will move from traditional paper pen system to open book exam. You may not be able to put 100% invigilation on the student, so you allow him to open his books. Okay, I'm giving you a question which is a real life scenario question, and you solve it. You want to refer to your books? Go ahead, most welcome. So that is the way forward as far as examination cell is concerned. When you talk about examination cell, technology will make inroads. That's what we talked about. If you do not embrace technology into examination cell, you may not be able to conduct assessments and evaluations properly. This point we talked about. Copying and cheating will be drastically reduced because of artificial intelligence based tools, machine learning based tools, and it will be a challenge for faculty to develop innovative real life problems on a regular basis. I'm just underlining the word regular basis. It is not the case that you have developed one real life scenario one day and it will go for the semester. Answer is big no. On each and every topic, you need to come up with the real life problems so that your assessments are pretty good as far as global standards are concerned. Because examination framework is going to be open book going forward. So take my words. But this will help the student community because they will be more aligned towards application based scenarios, application based problems instead of theoretical problems. That okay, define this, explain this. Those may not be the problems going forward. There will be application based problems. So in turn, this will help students ultimately because they will be coming up, they will be facing real life scenarios as far as the theory they have learned in the class. and they need to convert their knowledge into solving that particular problem, which will be an added knowledge dissemination. Very, very good. So this is where examination cell is going to move. Let me talk about some futuristic opportunities also for all the stakeholders. Now, when we talk about stakeholders, we do have students, we do have faculty members, we do have institutions. So we do have industry. So let me talk about opportunities for each and every stakeholder, so that all stakeholders should feel excited about this change. Number one, faculty. Most of the faculty members who are associated with universities at this moment of time, they will move into freelancing assignments. That is one futuristic opportunity, wherein there will be subject matter experts for many universities at any given point of time. They may not be working for a single university, they are working as a subject matter expert. So this is one futuristic opportunity for faculty members. Very, very strong. Faculty members need to understand what I'm talking about, because if you do have skills available, sky's the limit for you as far as your contribution to the education society is concerned. Students, they will get an opportunity to learn from world's best of best teachers, because let us say today I'm sitting in Chandigarh. Tomorrow, when Riyadh Bara University organizes next session, the subject matter expert is coming from Atlanta, USA. Who knows? You are just listening, right, to the thoughts. But yes, what's best of best teachers will come to your online screen for teaching you. So this is a good opportunity for the students to learn from best of the best teachers across the world. When you talk about university, it will shape into digitally transformed virtual university. If universities move towards digitalization, digital transformations, virtualization, I think universities will be able to shape up better. And when you talk about industry, when industry people need not travel to the universities, they just need to sit in their office and contribute. I think half an hour from an expert on a particular topic will be more than enough for the students to learn something out of it. So industry will be able to send their SMEs more towards university students, more towards classrooms, and they will be able to contribute by sharing their minor projects, major projects, small problems which students will be able to solve and learn the subject very, very nicely. So these are the futuristic opportunities which I think different stakeholders can encash. A few predictions for the future. These are few foresights which I want to share with you. It may happen, it may not happen, but these are my predictions. So let's see how things shape up. So first thing, virtual universities will make a distinct mark across the globe. Universities will not be physical now going forward. There will be virtual universities. The concept of virtual universities with education as a service will be the new accepted normal going forward. So this is the first prediction for future learning ecosystem. AR VR will find prominent place in the education ecosystem, because let me take one example. I need to explain, let us say, the functioning of heart. You might have seen various education apps floating in the market which have 3D models and all that. They are good to have at this moment of time, but going forward, augmented reality and virtual reality will find a prominent place in our education systems, because when labs will be online, teaching will be online, I need to show 3D models. I need to show a virtual picture of each and everything. So that is the second prediction for future learning ecosystem. SMAC, we talked about in the initial beginning, social mobile analytics cloud will be the horizontal technology framework for the digital universities. And demand for freelancing subject matter expert faculty members will increase exponentially. You take my word, this is going to happen because the scenario, you and I cannot predict that this particular scenario will last for next 2 months or 2 years. Nobody knows. So in that particular scenario, most of the universities across the globe, I'm not talking about India, across the globe, have started rethinking their strategies and have started realigning their mode of delivery, their learning ecosystem, so that they can go for good students as far as enrollments are concerned. So this particular thing will definitely matter a lot. And academic learning outcome of students will be far better than their previous performances because they will be learning the subject of their own, they will be deliberating, they will not be copying the assignment, they will not be copying the project, they'll be doing themselves. So in that particular scenario, learning outcomes will be far better. These are few things, few foresights, few predictions I think will happen in near future as far as learning ecosystem is concerned. So whomsoever will seamlessly integrate three critical stakeholders. One is student, one is faculty members, and the third one is university. Of the whole learning ecosystem will win the battle in the future. So this is what everybody should take it very seriously and start deliberating, start thinking, start realigning. That is where winning the battle is in the foresight. Thank you. So I finished my discussion, and I would request you to have questions. If you do have, you can use the YouTube Notepad, and accordingly we can go forward.
Thanks, Dr. Manoja. It's a great PPT, and you're giving the overview, entire overview. But I have few questions from you.
Yes, please.
Just I'm starting with the question, seeing the economic condition of entire globe. With the fall of the economy and the rise of massive online courses, how will the teachers sustain? Because this is a very important
Okay.
question on the fraternity.
Right. I think you have asked a very good question because everything is related to economy, and we need to take decisions based upon the economy of the country, economy of the world, economy of our whole ecosystem. So when there is a drop in the economy, as it is very much visible from COVID-19 lockdown across the world, economy has taken a good hit. Then there may be cases when people will prefer to opt for online over the traditional classrooms, as it is more cheap, more economical. But then again, teachers will have to be there either in the classroom or on the other side of the cyber class. Like today, I am talking with you. I'm sitting on the other side of the cyber class, right? So a teacher will be required to help the students manage the queries. So to summarize my answer, those teachers will survive who will realign quickly to the changing world of learning ecosystem.
Okay. Now, just because I have also a kid, he's also going through an online teaching mode nowadays. From a parent point of view, is this a model a better way?
Definitely,
What do you
definitely.
feel?
Definitely. I think this is a very light question you have asked, whether parents will be happy or not, right? In these scenarios, we can say that it is better, as through online education the parents can be more involved in the students work and can monitor the progress also. Not only that, they can also keep a tab on the child's activity, but they can prevent happening like bunking the class. Just imagine a scenario that a student comes to the university one morning, and he or she does not attend the class at all, and by evening he or she goes back to the home by college bus. So teachers, parents are not aware of that. So that particular scenario will be caught as far as parents are concerned. Definitely a good sign for the parents. This is my observation.
We have few questions online also, and a question from Mr. Samnesh Sharma. He want to know, how do you see the future of Indian education system in online education when government policies are too rigid on distance education?
Thank you, Professor Shamnish. I think you have touched a very right question altogether. When you talk about rigid government policies, just revisit government policies during the last 30 to 45 days. They are very flexible nowadays. Let me correct you. Let me share with you the latest notifications from UGC and all that. They are very flexible. They are taking each and every point into consideration. And when we talk about UGC or Ministry of HRD, they are very considerate, having those scenarios on board. They have taken the complete discussion to the next level. And if you talk about the coming scenario of coming semester, how to finish it off and how to start the next semester, they have given a very broad guidelines. That is how we need to go for it. So my answer to your question is, definitely, there's a big scope of online education in India, because post COVID, that's what I talked about, that we don't know whether this situation will last for 2 months or 2 years. So we need to prepare for that. And we need to be very open, putting our ideas to the government agencies, so that they act accordingly, and they are acting accordingly. This is my observation.
Oh, thanks. One more question from Dr. Rajni Garg. Is online teaching learning is challenging for both students and teachers?
Dr. Rajnikant, definitely, it is a major challenge altogether, because you talk about teachers or you talk about students. We people as community, education community, are not very well aligned to this philosophy altogether. That is the first challenge. We need to very quickly align ourselves to this philosophy, this scenario, which was not seen earlier by the whole generation altogether. Just imagine, whomsoever is there in this world is seeing this particular scenario for the first time in his or her life. So we don't know
True, sir.
what is right or what is wrong, but definitely it is a big challenge. And now we talk about online education. The first and the foremost requirement of online teaching is internet connectivity. How many students across India, let me talk about India, have good internet connectivity available with them? That is a question mark. Answer is yes. We need to find ways and means how we can counter this particular bottleneck. Yes, bottleneck is there. Somebody is sitting in some remote areas and internet connectivity is not good, and he is being taught by a faculty member who is having internet speed in GBs. So he will say that, okay, bhaiya, nahi kaam hota. But yes, this is a major challenge altogether we need to address. And yes, coming days, coming months, solutions will definitely step in. So answer to your question is yes, Dr. Rajni. We as education community need to come up collectively and work on those solutions.
Great, sir. I think Dr. Rajni will be satisfied from your answer. I will pick a next question from Mr. Venkatesh. He's asking, blockchain and artificial intelligence enabled LMS platform would be a great challenge in the future?
I think, Mr. Venkatesh, it is a futuristic question altogether you have asked. I would love to answer this particular thing, because when you integrate blockchain with artificial intelligence, it is a deadly combination. And this combination, blockchain AI combination in the field of education, it is a huge oceanic opportunity altogether for all of us in this particular seminar. Because if we want to do something innovative, if we want to solve society problems, if we want to support the business opportunities, I think this is the way forward, and you are bang on target that yes, this combination, deadly combination, will definitely help us in solving a lot of problems as far as content piracy is concerned, IPR issues are concerned, our proper examination conduction is concerned, assessments and evaluations are concerned. A lot of things will be solved by this particular blockchain and AI combination.
Sir, thanks to share your info. The next question will be: will we are requiring teachers in the traditional classrooms in future?
Uh, and a big answer is absolutely yes. There's a concern among teaching community that yes, if it is online, will be wiped out. Answer is big no. We would be really requiring teachers and traditional classrooms. Although it is true that advantages of studying online has numerous way to begin with, it is a cheap option in as compared to traditional classrooms, and students being able to study whatever he or she wants to learn or not be dragged along with the teacher's guided specific syllabus. Teacher is teaching something specific, and students need to go for that. So now there's a flexibility to the students so that they can learn whatever they want to. But saying all this, we cannot remove the classrooms and teachers as the basic required knowledge and the most important human skills are imbibed in the classroom only. We need to make a point over here. Without being in a classroom, the students cannot learn decorum over. Right. Also, classrooms are a very pivotal point for the students to socialize. Right. If
True, sir, true.
there's no there's no socialization, there may not be a because we learn in our first class one, human is a social animal. So that is where, plus the most vital thing that a classroom environment teaches us is to be more competitive in life and strive for more and learn how to take failures in public and build yourself up from there. That is where I am of the view that yes, we really would be requiring teachers and traditional classrooms.
Dr. Manoja, from your rich experience from the industry and the academia part, both you have seen both the verticals of the verticals. I just want to know what efforts a faculty, a new upcoming faculties, or the passionate or those who want to be a faculty, what they should do to sustain in
Right.
this market.
Right. So I think a part of the answer we have covered during our presentation also, Amit ji.
Yes.
Nowadays, teachers have realized the importance of internet and are making use of it to make the classes more interesting, and are using all the mediums available to them to make the class more interesting, more innovative, more challenging. So this is distinctly visible from the last 2 months. If you observe around us, all our teachers have been contributing rigorously towards making the class very engaging. No longer the classes just marked with books and chalks. They are building into powerpoints, they are building into fieldwork assignment. They are students are asked to go for research about various topics. And yes, they are trying to make learning less of monotonous job as in the class. So my observation is teacher community is fantastically contributing towards this particular scenario, and they have slowly but steadily realigned themselves to the new opportunity.
The same we have seen in the school model also, where all the school teacher has moved to the online model by preparing them very quickly, and they are proving the best. Sir, one more question from my guest, Mr. Anish Kumar, for
Mhm.
you. Is it possible that government and the private institution more focus on online education system than physical system in the future?
Anish ji, definitely yes. Going forward, you will see that there will not be a government university, there will not be a private university, there will be a virtual university. Most of the education, let me take a hypothetical scenario. भगवान से डर के बात करता हूँ. अगर if COVID-19 prolongs till 2021, 1 year down the line or 2 year down the line, and we community of teachers, students, and educational institutions have to live in our houses and teach the students, take the education to the next level. I think we need to find innovative ways and means to make it happen. So answer to your question is yes. I foresee government as well as private universities realigning to this particular new scenario very quickly, and this is pretty visible for the during the last 30 to 45 days of COVID-19. And just see, starting from Ministry of HRD to the lower level primary school, everybody is contributing online, and everybody has made the learning possible for their related stakeholders, and good for it.
Okay, sir, one more question. It's a very typical question from Dr. Mandeep Sandhu. It's is it hard to teach mathematics online? Can you suggest?
Good, Dr. Mandeep. Very nice question. Definitely, yes. I acknowledge that particular point, but that is where AR VR will come into picture. When you talk about a Pythagoras theorem, a Pythagoras model, or a binomial theorem, if you have augmented reality available to you, and you can explain a 3D model how that particular 3D array or structure is being organized or being taken care of, I think this is my observation, this is my foresight, that it will be easier now to explain the mathematical concepts to the students going forward, when we embrace online teaching or AR VR into our curriculum.
Okay. One very typical question, and just want to. Miss Katyani is asking question: how will be monitoring the class when the students sometimes switch off the camera?
Good, very good. So, I think that is a very light question, Ms. Katyani. I really appreciate this particular question, because this is the scenario you and I need to have handle in coming days as teachers. And definitely, yes, I don't have answers to all the questions of the future, but I can give you a suggestion that yes, we do have systems available as far as AI ML tools are concerned. And let us say I am doing like this. You see my picture? So it is observed by AI tool that yes, that person is seeing here and there. So that is observed by the tool. And if I just fickle my mind, if I just fickle my eyes and take off for a moment, that will be recorded. That will be recorded. Now it will be up to the faculty member or the tool or the university process how to handle that scenario. Somewhere it will be legitimate to give the relaxation, somewhere it will not be. So it will be handled case to case basis. And definitely, yes, technology will just enter into your classroom, just enter into your boardroom, just enter into your laptop, so that technology will make sure that education happens.
Thanks, sir. One more question regarding from Mr. Devesh. He's asking how we are going to work on infrastructure on university part.
Yes, Devesh, I think that is a very critical question. The managements of various universities need to answer, and there will be a big challenge. Let me commit. There will be a big challenge, and it will not be easy for universities to provide a seamless quality infrastructure which will transform the university digitally. It is not a one day job altogether. Currently, pre-COVID, if you see, universities were saying that yes, we do have ERP, we do have LMS available, but now those particular systems will be tested to the limit. So when you talk about tested to the limit, because now let us say university has 4,000 students, so that LMS need to take load of 4,000 connections. Whether your LMS will be able to, yes or no, that will be a challenge. Answer is yes. So a strategy will be required from the university side, university management side, and they need to go for a proper solution where technology is embedded into their daily life. Yes, indeed a challenge.
Just want to know one more question, sir, because we in many of the subjects practicals are there, like chemistry, physics. Then how we can, if this is a scenario and we have to prepare for the future, because in practicals we used to do manually and physically. Then how you feel how the technology can help us in this?
Mhm. Good question. We talked about simulated labs few minutes back, Amit ji. Simulated labs are available for sciences, available for engineering, available for management. All major schools do have simulated labs available. So simulated lab, definitely yes, they will give you a flavor of it. But definitely now it will be the onus on teachers to come up with real life scenarios, real life problems. Let me ask one question to physics teachers or chemistry teachers or biology teachers, that yes, if I am at home, can you give me 10 experiments which I can do at my home? Answer is big yes. They will say there, yes, just wait for 5 minutes. I'll give you a list of 10 experiments. That okay, do this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So there are a lot of things we can do at home in this particular scenario. So one particular part will be coming from simulated labs, other part will be coming from those experiments, real life examples, real life problems which students can do at home very easily. And each and every teacher from either engineering side or sciences side or management side will vouch for this particular thing, that if they are asked to prepare a list of experiments which students can do at home related to their subjects, they can do that.
Okay, thanks, sir. And getting a question from Dr. Simmer, Dr. Simmer.
Mhm.
Will student be able to learn without classroom atmosphere?
Uh, yes, it will be a challenge. So this is one question, Dr. Simmer. It depends on the student and the passion he or she carries, whether in a classroom or in front of the monitor. Who wants to learn will learn, right? But then again, we have seen students performing better during self studies because no one can teach them what to learn and how to learn. It is something which comes from within. So, answer to your question is yes, it is entirely up to a student and the environment he or she gets to go for learning.
Now we are just closing our Q&A round and just want to take the last question from Dr. Neena Mehta.
Mhm.
She's asking, do you think teachers need to give training to use different tools of teaching? As in India, teachers till today are not working on online system in routine and traditional teaching.
Definitely, Dr. Nina, you have touched the right chord. Definitely, it will be challenged to realign our teachers to embrace the new philosophy of teaching. Like we talked about in the initial beginning also, that yes, during last 30 to 45 days, I'm not saying what has went what has gone right or what has gone wrong, but each and every teacher has contributed very smartly towards making students learn in their online classes. They have shared ppts, they have shared assignments and all that. So definitely yes, as teachers, as management, we need to ensure that all our teaching team, all our faculty members are well trained to handle social media. They are well trained to handle how to engage the class. They are well trained to handle the learning pedagogies online. So those are few things we as institution, as management, need to take care of it? Answer is yes. It will be a challenge, but definitely we will come out with a solution very quickly, as we have observed during last 30 to 45 days.
A last quick question, sir. Is it availability of software and training for the teachers? Softwares. They are asking about the softwares where they can train.
There are a lot of open source things available nowadays. You talk about a lot of opportunities available, like let me give you an example of Coursera. Coursera has offered its entire basket of courses to all the universities free of cost till July 2020. So this is one opportunity we can encash. And as far as different tools are concerned, it will vary from course to course, school to school, and accordingly we can definitely have solution to each and everybody.
Thanks, sir. With this, we are concluding our session
Great.
on
I,
online learning.
I would
And
I
thanks
would
to Dr.
I would thank
Yeah,
you, Amit
yes,
ji,
sir.
for I would thank you and Pankaj ji for organizing such a nice session, and it was nicely organized. I really thank you and Pankaj ji for the wonderful organization. Thank you, and thanks for inviting me.
Thanks, Dr. Manocha, for your wonderful experience, sharing the experience with us and with our guests. And I thanks to all my guests from on behalf of Riyat and Bara family. Thanks, Pankaj ji. Thanks, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. With this,